Hey everyone, today we're out in the middle of nowhere in Oklahoma. Actually, this is about 7 miles west of Minco, Oklahoma, then just a couple miles south. This is Oakhill Cemetery, and it is literally down some gravel roads. So today we put a little gravel in our travel. Let me show you this cemetery though. It kind of looks like it's old and it's abandoned. I've never been here before, so we're going to experience this together. Like I said, there is very little out here. Very few houses that I passed on the way out here. Actually, more wind turbines than houses. And if you listen closely, you can hear them kind of whizzing in the wind. Over the treetops there, you can see one spinning. I think the one I'm hearing is back behind those trees. You never really know this cemetery is here without a little bit of research, so I did find out that there was one here, but look at that. It just looks like a cattle gate or something. And I love finding cemeteries like this because they are a little bitty piece of history for the area. And at some point, there would have been more people here. Looks like it's just a spring gate. Nope, here we got a little wire hanger holding that shut. It is definitely, like I said, in the middle of nowhere. No houses around. The last I saw was up that road, maybe about a mile or something. So yeah, I can see remnants of like tire tracks running through here, but looks like it's been a while. It's just like over time nature's taken over. So I don't know when the last time someone has driven through here. And I'm really not even sure where the cemetery is at. Okay, here's a marker right over there. This is certainly an abandoned cemetery. I don't even know where all of the markers could be in here. So I'm trying to keep an eye on spiders, of course. Not as afraid of those as I am of snakes. I'm not really afraid of spiders at all, actually. I just don't want to run across any venomous ones. Look here. That is some armadillo shells and bones right there in the cemetery. It's always interesting when you find dead animals in a cemetery. I don't know why, but that is a skull right there. Right on top of these ant piles, which are probably fire ants. Okay, so I'm not exactly sure how many, I'm not exactly sure what that is. Some sort of eggs, I guess. But I do not know how many graves are in this cemetery. So I thought we would walk around and see. Now this says, erected 1980, Board of Trustees, Garvin McComas, Jewel Tracy, and Wayne Barger. It's just a large monument with a metal piece of pipe. That is obviously the back side of it. Let's see over here. Okay, this is just saying the name of the cemetery. This is a more modern marker. So maybe a lot of these graves aren't marked. This is Oakhill Cemetery, 1902 to 1922. Let's move that over here. It says, in memory of twin boys of Mr. and Mrs. J.C. Klein, April 1902. So those were obviously the first burials. And then Vin Maud Cron, 1909. Dudley Black, 1903. W.F. Raymond, February 26, 1830 to June 21st, 1911. E.J. Raymond, May 12, 1839 to November 26, 1922. Rosa L., wife of O.N. Wilson, October 16, 1870, May 23, 1909. Mary Ruth, daughter of L.L. and E. Johnson, September 6, 1905 to October 10th, 1906. A lot of these are kind of going through. We have Mary Forbes, she was 1906. And then Edna, daughter of, that one right there is just less than a year and a half old. December 25th, 1905 to 1907. So a lot of these are right there around the time period when this was becoming a state, actually. And then it says date of death unknown, W.L. Lake, Mrs. Duval, Ruby Dodds, and others. So there are others in this cemetery. This is probably a pioneer cemetery where they settled this area. It's actually really pretty. Kind of see a little valley there. It's interesting that this is called Oakhill Cemetery. We're on more of a hill than I guess I thought we were. You can see the wind turbines off in the distance. Cedar tree right there, and there are some oak trees. They're not real big oak trees though. Bunch of these all smaller trees here, which I think are probably pecan trees. But there's a bunch of them. And no matter where I look, there's these little, some kind of little insect has spit foam and eggs or something on there is what my guess of that is. I don't know. If someone knows for sure, you can chime in. But let's walk around and just see if we see any monuments. When I see cedar trees in a cemetery, it makes me think that it's marking the corners of a burial plot, family plot area. Let's just walk around and see. There's no telling when the last time someone drove up in this. So let's walk around through the grass, see what we can find. If there are any markers. Hopefully I don't skip any. I know that's happened before where I've filmed something on camera and someone has said, well, I saw something and I didn't see it. So maybe you guys can look through and see if you see any markers that I might miss. This is some thick brush. It's kind of a cooler day, I guess, cooler morning. About 10 o'clock in the morning, I guess. Not exactly worried about snakes. We've kind of had some cooler weather here in Oklahoma lately, so the reptiles are not as active as what they normally would be. Not seeing anything so far. This is obviously the far edge of the cemetery where the barbed wire is at. Lots of just empty land out here. Out by the road, I actually saw cattle tracks. Well, this says no trespassing, which I assume came from that land over there. Definitely blown off. I definitely think that there are some grave markers in here somewhere, though, with these cedar trees. Could be all up underneath. Just take a peek in here and see. Not exactly abnormal to see cedar trees in a cemetery. The way that main marker was certainly makes me think that there could be no markers in this cemetery because of that main marker. Like maybe this originally had wooden markers designating the final resting places, or maybe there was some vandalism in here, accidental whenever they mowed their property. Not sure. So here's a cedar tree, a few oak trees. I am not seeing anything up in there. You can see where they've cleared brush off of that land and piled it up to burn it, but have not done so. We'll walk through this thick stuff here. This is really thick growth. Really trying to keep an eye out for something that pokes through. Have seen some poison ivy and stuff like that, but I'm very fortunate. I still try to avoid it, but I am not one that catches it. I'm one of the lucky ones. Got that from my grandfather on my mom's side. Well, No markers so far. We're on the back side of what I was trying to peek through with the cedar trees. Does look like there's sort of a trail here, like some deer or something have come through. Here we go. Look at that marker that has fallen down. Just found the first marker outside of that main marker towards the entrance of the cemetery. And that is a big one right there. Right up underneath this oak tree. Got to duck down to get to it. Now, I guess I was falling off of that tree. Almost looks like it's piled up there. The last name on this one is Raymond. So that's our first marker in this cemetery. And it has fallen over just over time. It's slightly leaning, and it looks like they even tried to come back in and repair it or something at some point, but it has fallen over once again. Miracle it's not damaged, I guess, but it's kind of fallen up against that tree right there. Let's see. This is father on the left, W.F. Raymond, February 26, 1830 to June 21st, 1911. Mother on the right, E.J. Raymond, May 12th, 1839 to November 6th, 1922. Look how that marker has just slid right up against that tree. And it's the very beginning stages of the tree actually growing around the marker. But you can see the base here. That white over there is where they try to repair it a second time, and that's the original part there. Could even be a third time. It's hard to say, but that has weathered through some things out here in the wild. So let's see if we can find any others. When you see a mass marker like that, it does make me think that they are missing a lot of markers. And you know, we could be stepping on flat-lying markers right through here with just all the oak leaves covering the bottom of the ground. But we'll see if there's any others. Definitely mixed in the trees there. Do a little following of the animal trails and see if it leads us to anything else like that did. It's not a big cemetery, so walking the whole thing and scoping it out will be very easy to do. A lot of these folks were probably handled locally by either a funeral home or just the folks out in this area. That time period, they could literally pass away one day and be buried the next day. No death certificate or anything like that needed. So that is the fence line right there. Fence line right back there on the side here. Have another thick cedar tree, which we'll see if there's anything up underneath it. And I am not seeing anything, but it does kind of have that look like a four-corner cedar tree growth. They're tiny cedar trees though. We'll peek up through this way one more time. Not seeing anything. It's just a lot of broken tree limbs in this cemetery. There's really nobody out in this area to do any sort of maintenance. Here we go. Look right here. Quite a bit of, or at least several monuments. Before we get over there, trying to do a scan up underneath these trees. My instinct is that the cedar trees would be having additional markers, but there are some right here. And we're kind of just doing the outer perimeter and then some of the middle. This is clearly an infant right here. And we have daughter of Wesley and Clara Forbes, born and died April 4th, 1903. A little flower of love that blossomed but to die is what it says. We have a little lamb on top, and the head has just worn off over time. It may have broken off a long time ago, but that's pretty smooth right there. So the elements have not been kind to this. We have another one right here that could have had writing all the way around, but I am not seeing it now, unless it's on this side only, which it is. Mary A.P. Forbes, born July 16th, 1824, and died August 6, 1906, and then it says at rest. Down at the bottom it says Forbes. This one right here also looks like they've repaired it at some time. And we have Edna F., daughter of L.L. and C.F. Forbes, December 25th, 1905 to May 27th, 1907. I think that was the one that was on that main marker, if I'm remembering correctly. Mary Ruth, daughter of L.E. and E. Johnson, September 6th, 1905, passed away in 1906. Can't really read the month and the day. We have another here that I think it's been repaired once before as well. But this says 1896, and then died December 22nd, 1909. Darling, we miss thee. And it's just kind of twisted on the base. This is the top right here, and it says Viola, and born June 18th, looks like. So, and it is another Forbes family member here. And not seeing any others, so that's sort of a Forbes family plot area. Look over in the distance at how many wind turbines there are. And when I say there's no houses near, there is not. And even if there were, these wind turbines far outnumber any houses that could be out this way. Okay, we'll walk through and make sure that there are not any others. That is not very many. It's a decent sizable cemetery for out in the country. We'll look down underneath here. Now these cedar trees are younger, but they could have come from an older cedar tree at some point. It's hard to say. Even the oak trees do not look huge in this cemetery. So, not exactly seeing any others. I do see something right up here, and that one is really right by the entrance. Just to show you how you can miss these, and you got to walk through at different angles, or you'll walk right over something. Now, there could be some markers underneath this somehow. They could be upright markers that have sank in the soil. The soil doesn't really feel soft, but you're talking about a lot of years here. Over 100 years for some of these. And then others could be flat-lying markers that just the grass and the leaves could cover. But I completely missed that one. And the reason why I missed it is that cedar tree, that little one, is hiding it. Now there are a lot of little saplings and trees, piles of brush that could be hiding anything anywhere. Piles of leaves, grass grown over it, who knows. But let's see who this one is, right near the gate. This is Rose L., wife of O.A. Wilson, born October 16th, 1871, and died May 23rd, 1909, or it could be 1899. I think that's 1909. So one more marker here. Thy will be done is what it says at the top. And this is right by the edge where the barbed wire fence is. So this is interesting. Oakhill Cemetery. And I could have missed more markers in through here. This is one of those things, this would be a heck of a chore to try to clean up and see if there are any other markers in here. In fact, this is something that I would not be able to do alone. And it would take multiple people just to kind of trim it up and see if there are any other things. That one historical marker that's over this way makes me think that they have probably done that before. And it's been a long time, and then these trees have just kind of grown up since. Well, that's going to do it for today's little cemetery tour and walkthrough on Oakhill Cemetery, just west of Minco, Oklahoma. Literally out in the middle of nowhere. I can hear like a chainsaw off in the distance. It's probably a good mile or more away. I'm not sure, but I have not run into any cars, any people, nothing. Just complete quiet other than the chainsaw. I think I've heard one rifle and then wind turbines. That's most of the noise. I haven't even heard very many birds. But anyways, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. You always want to check yourself. Look at that tick right there. It's crawling on my arm. Get back to the house, I'll have to jump in the shower because I could have ticks all over my legs. Who knows? I didn't even feel that guy. So beware when you're out in cemeteries like this.